Somewhere, right now, there is a man in a checkout line. Nothing about him is impressive. He is not famous. He is not loud. He is not trying to be seen. And if you stood next to him, you would feel it. A weight, a stillness. The room rearranges itself around him, and he does not notice. Most people will call this cold. They are wrong. This is not a man who stopped feeling. This is a man who stopped being moved by things that do not deserve to move him. And the difference between those two lives is the difference between a man who is owned and a man who is free. Stay until the end. By then, you will know which one you are. There is another man. You already know him. He is in the argument before the sentence is finished. He is rewriting the text in his head before he puts the phone down. He is explaining himself to people who were never going to understand him. A look from a stranger can ruin his afternoon. A delayed reply can ruin his night. A comment, a slight, a silence, and the whole machinery of him starts spinning. He calls this caring. He calls this being alive. What it actually is a door with no lock. Anyone can walk in. Anyone can rearrange the furniture. Anyone can leave him standing in his own life, waiting to be told what he is worth. To be unmoved is not to become a statue. The statue feels nothing. That is not strength. That is absence. The man we are talking about feels everything. He feels the insult. He feels the loss. He feels the moment someone he loved decides he is no longer convenient. He lets the feeling arrive. He lets it stand in the room. And then, this is the part almost no one practices. He does not hand it the keys. Anger comes. He notices it the way you notice weather. Grief comes. He gives it a chair. He does not give it the house. That is not coldness. That is command. Watch how an ordinary day moves a man. Someone doesn't text back. He writes 3 versions of a reply and sends none of them, and still the silence sits on his chest. Someone speaks to him with a little less respect than yesterday. He replays it for an hour. Someone else is promoted, chosen, invited, loved. And a quiet thought arrives. I am falling behind. None of these things happen to his body. They happen to his opinion of himself. The Stoics saw this 2,000 years ago. It is not the thing that strikes you. It is the story you tell about the thing. The delay is not an insult. Your interpretation is. The slight is not a verdict. Your hunger for a verdict is. A man who does not see this will spend his life being moved by weather he cannot command. A man who sees it starts to close the door. Nobody becomes this overnight. The unmoved man was moved once by everything. He just stopped treating every movement as an order. He began with small things. The comment he did not answer. The apology he did not perform. The explanation he swallowed, not out of fear, out of accuracy. Because most explanations are not for truth. They are for permission. He learned to let a sentence end without repairing it. He learned to let a room misunderstand him and go home anyway. He learned that being liked on Tuesday is not the same thing as being free on Friday. This costs something. You will lose people who only knew how to reach you through your reactions. You will look, for a while, like you care less. You do not. You care about fewer of the wrong things. The work is almost boring. That is why almost no one does it. Greatness is rarely a speech. It is 100 unremarkable refusals. Go back to the man in the line. He has lost things. You would not know it from the weight he holds his bag. He has been talked about. You would not know it from his voice. He has wanted people who did not want him back. He did not turn that into a personality. He did not turn it into content. He did not turn it into a war. He put his life in order the way a man puts a room in order, one object at a time. What he can govern, he governs. What he cannot, he stops arguing with. That is what you feel standing next to him. Not danger, not charm, gravity. The gravity of a life that is no longer for sale. Here is the test. Not a quote, not a morning routine. Tonight, something will try to move you. A message, a tone, a silence that feels like a judgment. You will feel the old machinery start, the tightening, the draft of the reply, the story about what it means. That is the door. You can open it like you always have, or you can let the feeling arrive, give it a chair, and keep the keys. No one will clap. That is how you know it is real. Most people will spend their one life being moved by things that will not matter in a year. You do not have to. You can become the man the room rearranges itself around. Not because you demanded it, because you stopped offering yourself to every weather. To be unmoved is not to feel less. It is to belong to yourself. If this is the standard you want, stay. The next one is for the man who has already decided.